I'm not worried about going back to Panama. It's just I don't want to go to this pregnancy without Matt.
If the child is born and you still are legally married, under the laws of the state of Florida, Gino is presumed to be the father of the child.
He could do that? I'm sorry.
This bum could possibly take me to court and probably take my kid.
Oh boy. Gino has put his plan of revenge into action, and the consequences extend way beyond just having Jasmine deported. This already messy situation just got a whole lot worse. So let's rewind to the start and pick up the story where we left them last week, right after Jasmine has hung up the phone on Gino.
I don't want to talk to him ever again.
Honey, breathe. Getting this riled up is not good for you. Ay, ay, ay.
Look, there's no doubting stress, of course, can be bad for the baby. But there's also no universe where telling an annoyed woman to calm down ever gets the desired results. Here's an idea, Matt. How about going over to her, hugging her, comforting her instead? Now, since he doesn't do that, Jasmine's alternative, the person she reaches out to for comfort, is Michelle. She calls Michelle, crying hysterically down the phone, to tell her that Gino is trying to have her deported.
Now, just because he says something doesn't mean it's true, Jasmine. Just take a couple deep breaths.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Gino might say one thing, he might claim it's immigration fraud, but that doesn't mean that everything he says is automatically correct. I mean, the guy also claimed he liked sex. He also claimed to be a sugar daddy, didn't he? Now, while Jasmine maintains that this was never fraud or deception, she did genuinely really love Gino. She's also well aware that if he wants to, if he's that way inclined, he can cause a lot of problems and issues for her, Matt, and their child. Why is he like this? She sobs down the phone to Michelle. Why is he so vindictive? Why can't he accept responsibility for his role in the breakdown of our marriage?
Gino has a lot of responsibility in this. Gino rejected you every single way. He is very angry, and I understand why he's angry.
For once, Michelle is absolutely correct. Gino does have a right to be angry. Like, the choices Jasmine made were pretty messed up. She chose to pressure Gino into an open marriage. And then when it became crystal clear that that situation wasn't working, she chose to continue her relationship with Matt. Those were her choices. But, by the same token, it was also Gino's actions or lack thereof, his constant rejection of her since pretty much the moment she stepped foot in America, that led her to make those choices. And unfortunately, it's not as simple as just saying one person is guilty and the other is innocent. Both had a role to play in this. Now, as far as Gino's threat of getting her deported is concerned, Jasmine says that that's not what's worrying her.
I'm not worried about going back to Panama. It's just I don't want to go to this pregnancy without Matt.
We need to do what's best for the baby. We need to do what's best for you.
We need to do what's best for the baby. We need to do what's best for you, says Michelle. There's absolutely no doubt here whose side she's on. She might be Gino's family, but she's well and truly in Jasmine's corner. Now, she goes on to advise her that they need to get a lawyer. You need to know exactly where you stand legally so that you can find out what Gino can or can't do. But Jasmine's mind has already gone into overdrive. She's already freaked out at all the possibilities.
I'm super afraid of being deported. I'm afraid that I'll go to prison.
Immigration fraud is a crime, so if somehow, and it's a very big if, but if somehow Gino can prove that that was indeed the case, well, prison wouldn't be completely out of the realms of all possibility. Like, it might happen, but you've got to imagine that's extremely, extremely unlikely. Now, again, it's not just the prison threat, the deportation threat that's playing on her mind. Gino has also said to her he wants her to pay back $75,000, and there's also the small issue of the fact they still remain legally married. Like, there is a lot to discuss with the attorney, and to his credit, when we next join them a few days later, Matt has scheduled a meeting with a lawyer to discuss their case. But first, before making it to the lawyer's office, they've stopped off for an interesting snack.
That one is good.
Now, this strange dessert does seem to do the job. It does seem to calm Jasmine down a little. But she's also clearly been preparing for this meeting. Like, she shows us the notes that she's been taking, all the questions that she wants to ask the attorney, and everything from timeline of their relationship to specific legal questions that she wants to discuss. She doesn't want to leave anything to chance. She tells us that what with having pregnancy brain, she wants to make sure she doesn't forget to raise something that's important.
Can I get deported? Do I have to pay Gino the money?
When is a good time to file for divorce? I would probably write that down.
Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that pregnancy brain is a very real thing, but I get the impression that these are such big issues that she's unlikely to just forget them. Plus, if she forgets them, she has Matt next to her. Like, yes, he might be a self-proclaimed idiot, but he seems pretty focused right now. Like, he notices the order in which Jasmine just listed that. Like, why is it, he wonders, that getting a divorce doesn't appear to be a high priority for you?
Why isn't the first thing on your list asking the attorney about divorcing Gino?
It's not easy, Matt.
Now, while Jasmine says that she's worried getting a divorce could make this situation even worse, we also know, of course, that Matt is very keen on her to get a divorce before he introduces her to his very religious mother. I don't like this feeling, he privately tells the camera crew. I'm the one that's taking care of her, and yet, for whatever reason, she doesn't appear to be prioritising divorcing her husband. Like, that's not fair on me, he says. Now, fair or not, and I'm sorry, but I find the talk of fairness and equity a bit rich coming from someone that was sleeping with a married woman. The truth is, right now, none of them are yet aware that the answers they're going to get to all of their questions are only going to make an already tense situation a whole lot worse.
Let's just see what my faith is. This is the only way we can get an answer. I was going to say Gino. Matt. Jesus Christ.
Pregnancy brain? Or is that perhaps a sign that maybe she's moved on too quickly when she can't even get her partner's name right? I mean, ouch. Talk about a blow to Matt's ego. Now, one thing I will say here is Jasmine didn't need to say that. Like, she could have kept her mouth shut and we would have been none the wiser. Matt wouldn't have been hurt by that. But that is just Jasmine. She loves to talk, right? And that's no different when they get to the lawyer's office. Jasmine immediately begins to inundate the poor attorney with all the minutiae, every little thing that went down, including, much to the lawyer's astonishment and shock, how she, Matt and Gino were embroiled in an open marriage.
An ethical, non-monogamous relationship, he agreed. And we agree on Matt.
You agreed on Matt?
See that? That right there is the very moment this poor lady realised this wasn't going to be her typical consultation. Now, Jasmine does clarify that yes, her husband did agree that she could sleep with Matt. But, of course, that isn't where the story ends. Sleeping together and not using protection, who would have thunk it, did result in some unintended consequences.
After all this,
We have a bun in the oven.
exactly.
Which,
Matt.
okay, that makes your case interesting.
Interesting is a very nice word for that. It's a lot more diplomatic than what I'd have to say about the whole thing. Now, as it turns out, as the attorney goes on to explain to them, there is a lot of factors in this case. There's a lot for them to consider. Like, if you were to get deported before the baby is born, the lawyer says, then the baby won't be considered an American citizen. But I think that's the least of your problems. There's more news you ought to know.
If the child is born and you still are legally married, under the laws of the state of Florida, Gino is presumed to be the father of the child.
He could do that?
Yeah, sorry, but that's f***ed up, isn't it? In the eyes of the law, Matt's child would, legally speaking, be Gino's child. Now, of course, understandably, Matt is floored by this. The thought of another man somehow legally having some rights over his child is shocking to him, as I'm sure it is to many people. But there's something that, while they don't address this on the show, I'm curious about. I'd love to know if anyone has the answer to this. Let me know in the comments below. But what exactly would happen if Jasmine were to get deported after giving birth? Like, could Gino, as legally the father of the baby, and also as the baby would have been born in America, thereby making it an American citizen, could Gino insist on separating mother from child? Like, the whole thing could get really messy, and the lawyer spells that out to them.
The laws of the state of Florida presumes there's a presumption that Gino is the father of the child because the child technically is born within the marriage she has to Gino.
Understandably, this is really starting to freak Matt out. When Gino first started making threats, Matt wasn't worried at all. He didn't think that he'd go through with them. But hearing what the lawyer has just told him, hearing that the person he hates most in the world somehow has a legal claim over his baby, like learning that this isn't going to be the quick fix that he imagined it would be, has really, really rattled him.
I figured with a lawyer, all I have to do is, take a DNA test, prove that the child is mine, and then it'll rule him out.
It is starting to get more real and scary.
Matt seems to be getting emotional at the reality of his situation. Like, this all appears to be getting a bit too much for him. Learning that it's not as easy as just taking a DNA test, it's not down to what Jasmine puts on the birth certificate, has just reaffirmed what he was already thinking. Reaffirmed that Jasmine should divorce Gino pronto. Would that help things for us? Would that solve this situation? He asks the lawyer. But, unfortunately, her answer isn't quite what he or Jasmine were hoping.
In a perfect world, that would help in front of immigration. But in reality, you guys don't have that amount of time.
Yeah, they've left this very late. Like, in reality, the baby is going to be here before they can get a divorce. The attorney warns them, this is a very serious situation. All you can do right now is take things one step at a time. Step one, she says, is to start the ball rolling on the divorce. Now, this freaks Jasmine out. Why? Well, not only will getting divorced be yet another failed marriage for her, but it would also mean that she'd have to finally tell her family everything. Don't forget, up until now, Jasmine's family have no clue about any of this.
If I tell them all the lies that, expose myself and tell the truth, now I will have to tell them, like, yes, I have a green card, but get what?
We have some tissues.
Honestly, what did she think was going to happen? This is the most bizarre, stupid thing I've ever heard in my life. Was she planning on hiding her daughter forever? Or worse yet, was she planning on making them think that Gino was the dad? I think the fact that she's so worked up about her family learning says everything that you need to know here. Jasmine herself is ashamed of her actions. She's ashamed of what her family will think. But that's too late to worry about now. I mean, right now, she's got bigger things to worry about than her family's judgment. She needs to worry about Gino.
Gino thinks he owns me because he brought me here and decides if I stay or not. And I'm sick and tired of he believing that.
Jasmine wants to fight back. She wants to do everything she possibly can to protect her daughter. But the problem is, she doesn't know how. She doesn't know what to do. She just feels helpless. Now, when we next join them back at home, Jasmine finds an interesting way to try and distract herself. Her grooming routine with her dog Coco makes drinking Coco's water, as we saw her do last week, look positively hygienic in comparison to what we see her do today.
What are you shaving?
He's us. Beautiful.
Yikes.
Yeah, you just saw that correctly. She just kissed her dog's butt. Yuck. Honestly, that's absolutely disgusting. How on earth is Matt ever supposed to kiss those lips ever again? I mean, the only thought worse than that is the thought of Gino having a say over their child.
Gino could claim that the baby is his baby.
Possibly putting his last name on the kid and stuff like that. That's a lot.
That thought, that prospect, is clearly playing with Matt's head. I mean, just imagine the mind games there. If we're talking about Gino getting revenge, what a f***ed up level of revenge it would be to force the child to have his surname. Now, as far as deportation is concerned, Matt promises Jasmine that he'll do everything in his power to stop it happening. I'll spend more time and more money to fight it than Gino could ever do, he vows. I love you, he reassures her. I love you and our child.
So you're my family. You understand? Then you have to take care of the people in your family.
I agree.
That's true and all. I mean, it's very sweet, and I love how both of them are firmly in agreement with that. But I'm sorry, I can't help but notice the irony, the glaring hypocrisy in their statement. I mean, it's all well and good to say that you're family and family means everything, family take care of each other, but hold on guys, aren't you both still guilty of not even telling your families about this whole situation? Heck, aren't your best friends Dana and Michelle also guilty of not putting family first? I mean, it's all well and good saying family comes first, but your actions seem to say otherwise. Still, clearly these guys have other thoughts on their minds. I mean, the legal right that Gino has over their baby is causing them to talk a big game, even if they don't quite know how they're going to defend themselves yet.
I'm sorry.
This bum could possibly take me to court and probably take my kid.
Look, I'm not Matt or Jasmine's biggest fan. I think you can tell that by now. But even I, as a parent myself, can tell you right now, in this situation, this law is massively fucked up. You wouldn't wish this on your worst enemy. I mean, the idea of another man, a man seeking vengeance, somehow having rights over your child, is absolutely sickening. Jasmine and Matt are exhausted and scared, but there is a slight silver lining to all of this. Yes, the situation they find themselves in is horrific, but at least it's brought back into stark focus what it is that they're fighting for. Their baby daughter. And that realisation, that joint goal, has also now brought the two of them closer together again. You've got to say, that's a good thing. Given the fight that's ahead of them, they're gonna need to have each other's backs.
She loves you.